Hello and welcome to Daniel Lee Plastering and Rendering. Today we are repairing there was a bit of water damage in this ceiling, as you can see there. The customer did some exploratory work, so that was how it was when we arrived. First things first, protect. So we're going to protect all the floors. Now this is actually in a bedroom. It's a fully furnished bedroom with lots of items, and this is going to be some dusty work, so rather than sheet everything down, it was actually easier to create effectively a little polythene tent around the area that I'm working in. And that's what I'm doing here, just using quite thin polythene. That was all that was needed. Now I'm going to straighten out the hole. So I've found the joist, and I'm running a multi-tool along the line halfway between the wooden timber. I'm going to pull that bit out, so I now have a nice straight line and a nice rectangle for my new board to go in. You notice there's some nail heads in there, that need to come out, so I remove all the nail heads. That is now ready. Because they had some damp in the loft and some condensation, I will be using vapor barrier board. So it's got nice shiny foil on one side, and because of this concrete lintel, I will be using Fix All Turbo, which is an incredibly good strong glue, and I will be using that instead of screws on the side of the concrete lintel. You see, I'm using very generous dabs, about as often as I would put a screw in, so about every 8 inches ish. That is now ready. Notice I've just done the glue on the one side, because the other side there is the wooden batten that I can fix plasterboard screws into. So I'll fix one side, and that will hold the board up nicely for me as well. Now it's worth noting, when you do a repair like this and you cut halfway between a joist, it's quite likely you've taken or weakened the existing ceiling, so it's very important to screw either side. So you'll notice I've put screws in the existing ceiling as well to pin that back tight to the ceiling. Now we're ready for SBR to prime the existing ceiling from where I'll be patching in. The plasterboard itself doesn't need to be primed, and it's only a very small area, so I'll be just using a little paintbrush, and I've got a little trusty jug for these smaller repairs. And I'm going to take it again about 8 inches or so past it. I don't need to go too far. And then what's left I can just pour straight back into the SBR tub. Now polythene, this is a very good trick that I saw on YouTube. You pop the polythene over the cap, screw it on, and then that cap will never get stuck on again, because SBR is so incredibly strong it can stick over time. And that's my trusty paintbrush holder. Now it's time for the scrim. So I gave that dried quite quick. I gave it about half an hour, and the SBR dried quite nicely there. And because it's such a small patch, we will be using half time Thistle multi-finish. We only need a small bit. In fact, one whole hawkful did that entire repair. So I'll go over the scrim first. So I like to put a nice coat over the fibre mesh over the scrim. There is a little bit of damage when we arrived. There was a bit of damage to the lovely cornice that was there when we arrived. But what I did was just try and press the plaster into it a little bit, and just sort of softened the damage. I sort of just built out that side a little bit, and it it hid some of the damage on the cornicing. See now I'm just applying a very nice first coat over it all. I've used a decent amount of half time, which is an accelerator which will make this plaster go off much quicker than normal. This will allow me to do this, to not wait around so long. So if I didn't have any half time, I could be waiting half an hour, but as it was about 5 minutes later, and I was able to give it a good flatten. I've now switched to my flexi trowel. The flexible trowel's incredibly good at feathering in, so the part where the plaster meets the original ceiling, when you try and blend the plaster into the ceiling, so effectively blending it into nothing, that's called feathering. So where I'm feathering into that ceiling, that's where the flexible trowel really comes into its own. You see it's a little bit dry there, so I've added a bit more moisture on the paintbrush, just to allow me to get over that. And that has had its dry trowel now, it's gone very well. It's all gone quite nicely there, and I've now removed everything and we are finished.